My name is Stephanie Patton, and I'm with MBBJ out of the Columbus office. And I'm involved in a group at MBBJ that's, I don't know if you'd call it experimental, but it's certainly new. It's called REV, R-E-V, so it's like MBBJ/REV. There are 6 of us, 3 in Columbus and 3 in Seattle. And we all come from sort of various backgrounds: anthropology, psychology, political science, sociology, sort of all over the map. And we've been brought in specifically to help ensure that the projects that we're working on are human-centered. We do a lot of work for hospitals and healthcare clients. So if we were designing, a new whatever for a healthcare client, in the past, we would be meeting. It's not that we didn't meet with our end users; we certainly did. But I think that the questions that we were asking them and the tools that we gave them to look at, meaning spreadsheets and floor plans, are often, those are the tools that we as, and I say the big we as designers, since I'm not a designer, but that we use. And so, it's not like you're not talking to bright people. I mean, a brain surgeon's a pretty bright man or woman, right? But if you're giving them floor plans and spreadsheets, that's not what they studied in school. It's not what they understand. I think that when I look back, a lot of the questions that we asked were focused on what they've done in the past, how much more of it they need in the future. And then again, not giving them really the right tools to respond. So instead now what we might do in that situation is, first of all, we might not only meet with the physicians, but we might also meet with the nurses and with administrators, and if we can, with patients and their families, because those are the clients' end users, and it's so important that we talk to them. And then the key is that we don't only talk to them. The key is that we give them tools. So if I'm going to be sitting down, I wouldn't necessarily sit across a conference room table from them and show them floor plans. I might give them some homework to do first, to start thinking about maybe healthcare experiences that they've had in the past. And then they might come into a room with a bunch of other people who are either of similar backgrounds or not. We would sort of, depends on what we're trying to get out of the session. And we might all talk about past healthcare experiences, what they think about what's going on currently, and then we would give them a series of tools that are very visual. They might be image card sorts that have some very specific images mixed in with some very sort of ambiguous images that could mean anything to anybody, and have them choose some of those and then talk about why they've selected them for what they want, how they want to work in the future. You could see the tools, they all look fairly elementary. I mean, literally puppets, literally shapes and glue sticks and scissors, and but it's really not dumbing down the process at all. What it's doing is allowing a third language to develop. So if architects and interior designers and those in that realm have design speak, and our clients have their own speak, whether they're attorneys or whether they're surgeons or whatever they are, then using visual tools that are low-tech and that everybody can understand creates a third language so that we can actually talk about not only what they're doing now, but maybe dream about what they would like to be doing in the future. It's sometimes more difficult to say what you really think if you're just staring at somebody across the table and telling them, and sometimes it's easier to project onto something like a puppet and tell the story that way. Say half the work that we do in REV is architecture related, and the other half is just research. Could it be related to architecture or not? So one of our projects was dealing with people who were living with type 2 diabetes. And so, it was like the man would have, we went into people's homes and talked to them about their lives and used the puppets. And so this was like, the man is telling us the story about how his wife sort of nags him all the time about the food that he eats and all that stuff. So we have some great pictures and video of basically, like, this is the body language, like, you need to be doing this, and he's down here like, all I want is a steak or whatever. And so the information that you can get out of something like that, and the body language and the richness of the data that you get, as opposed to somebody just sitting across the table and telling you about what their relationship is like, you just get a lot more detail. It's an example of a collage. It deals with future experiences of what people think it's going to be like to go to the doctor. So we use words and images from a very large set of words and images, and people get to choose the images that they put on their collages. Sometimes they do it individually, sometimes they do it in teams. And then the great part about this exercise is first they sort of think through it and pick and choose the words and images that are meaningful to them. And then they stand up in front of the group and share, what it is that this collage means. So you can imagine the rich kind of information you get from something like this, as opposed to saying to somebody, what do you think it's going to be like to go to the doctor in the future? This is what we call the dollhouse. And this is just, we made these up ourselves, but we take this toolkit in that has all these pieces and parts. So some of them are very specific. I mean, this looks like a bathtub. This looks like, a planter. But then we also made some things in our model shop downstairs that could be anything. You can build with them. You can stick them up on the wall with tape. You can do whatever it is you need to do. And we've given these toolkits to nurses, and in about 15 minutes, they've been able to come up with what their ideal patient room would be. Some people, I think that these kinds of tools and exercises are in opposition to aesthetics or beautiful design, and I think that they should go hand in hand, and that we're not asking people to say what it's going to look like. We're asking people to say what they want the experience to be like, what they think it should be, and then it's the designer's job to turn what their dreams are into reality.